Welcome, Cancer, to your 2021 yearly reading. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull 4 cards, one for each of the quarter of the year. In-depth monthly readings, of course, can be found on my playlist on the channel. Of course, if you subscribe, they're delivered straight to you, and people love those. You love those, don't you? They're different. They're good. Now let's have a look to see what there is in store. By the way, I'll use a pen to point out some of the really interesting esoteric and mystical imagery in these cards, because it will affect the meaning that it has, how I read it, and how I determine what I think is in store for you coming up in 2021. Let's get it underway. What's in the first quarter? The Queen of Discs, Cancer. Let's have a look here. There is the Star. Pretty hard to get a better card than the Star. There is no bad aspect to that card in my own personal experience. There is the 8 of Discs. We're going okay for time, are you? And see what there is here. Finally, this one. Ah, tremendous. The 8 of Wands. Okay, come on, sit down round next to me. Let's have a good close look at these cards together while I do the reading for you. Now, these playing cards, incidentally, are not going to be used. I'm just having them surround the tarot cards because I like the energy of these playing cards. They just give off a good spiritual vibe. Now, let's have a look at your first quarter, which is this card here, the Queen of Discs. Let's have a look at the Queen of Discs. Hello, Queen. How are you, my darling? Well, actually, you know, in this pack, she's the only queen not to face forward. And she's looking over her shoulder at the long journey she has undertaken. She has a great vantage point and has a clear vision of her journey. The background consists of a desert and a river, although she now stands on fertile land with vegetation. And in a nutshell, I think what this means is that you have probably been having some difficult times, and now you have reached an oasis, a place to recharge yourself, a place to plan as to how to get forward. Now, I think what we see here is that she represents, as the Queen, she represents water, and she's in earth. Now, water and earth are friendly and passive, but with water and earth together, we have somebody who is able to get their ideas grounded in tangible ways and make use of them. So you'll be doing that. Now, I think that the people who are going to be important to you during this period are, well, Sagittarius, I think, and Capricorn. She is ambitious, you know. But this is a woman who is, and I think what you should be doing during this time is working with instinct and intuition rather than over-intellectualizing things. Don't become a boffin. Just use your experience and hard-won knowledge. These people here, or she, can be quiet, hard-working, practical, and sensible. But I have to say this, that in their own quiet way, they can actually be quite lusty and sexy. There's always the quiet ones, isn't it? Let's have a look at some of the symbology which is on this card. Let's have a closer look at it. Now, there is a goat here on a golden globe. Well, that's talking about the sun in Capricorn, and that's, I guess, why I get a zodiacal attribution of this card as having Capricorn around it. And it indicates really a strong Capricorn influence and the qualities that are represented in Capricorn, which is practical, reserved, serious, pragmatic, rather than theoretical, and the down-to-earth, focused, and courteous. Now, spiritually, Capricorn is symbolized by the mountain goat. Did you know that? Who ascends the path of the soul up to the top of the mountain. And in this instance, Capricorn is the energy of discipline and self-mastery, for without either, the ascent to the top is too difficult to achieve. Now, let me have a look here. The horns on her helmet or crown, what you might call it, they're goat horns. See a lot of Capricorn here. These are from a Markhor goat. It's a wild goat that's found in the mountainous regions of Pakistan, Central Asia, and Afghanistan. as the goat occupies mountainous, that is high regions, I think that this is a symbol for your increased vision and perception that you'll have. It shows that you'll have a clarity of purpose during this time. This sort of reptilian armor which she has around her, which you can see there, well, they shed their skin, don't they? So this is about growth and renewal for you, a great time of growth and renewal. Now, the wand in her right hand is crowned with a hexagram. The cube, the orb in her left hand is more interesting. That has 13 interlocking rings, and 13 is a number which specifies the paths within the Kabbalistic tree of life. Probably a bit too deep for us to go into just at the moment. Maybe another time we shall. But the background, though, is interesting, because it is a desert with a river running through it, which represents her difficult journey with many barren periods. But the river signifies that there was always a spiritual force that was guiding her. Now, what I'm getting here is that this Queen of Discs, and these court cards, of course, can be of either gender, I get very much a very parental, nurturing type of energy and expressing yourself practically. She shows her love by keeping up the domestic duties, and perhaps even through a career. She strives to create a secure home for her family and loved ones. Now, the Queen of Discs can also represent a mother-type figure to who guides you through difficult issues of the past and present, or part of yourself that is loving, nurturing, and needs to take care of others and yourself, keeping you emotionally and physically comfortable. So there is a need, I think, for you to find time to create nurturing time for yourself and others, despite what other worldly duties they may have there. But look, what she does represent is this. She represents prosperity and security. She suggests that you have worked hard to generate a level of financial or physical security, or getting the things in motion, having planted the seeds, which in turn give you the ability to be generous with others and to share your prosperity with those that you love. You've used your financial prosperity to build a home environment that generally you're happy with, and you're focused on investing in your family and friends. I think what this is also talking about is going with the flow and following what is emotionally important to you and has meaning. And she also represents matters of health and diet, and so she's connected to the physical being in the suit of earth. So quite a prosperous time for you, I think. Things will be moving forward, and you'll get some rest and respite from some of the pain and aggravation that you have had in the past. And won't that be a good thing, hey? Let's have a look at this star card. Well, really, there's not a bad point to this. It's a really beautiful card with a very positive meaning. Now, this card of the star is ruled by Aquarius, which in turn, in classical astrology, is ruled by Saturn. Now, Aquarius is all about the individual and uniqueness, and yet it has an overall humanitarian outlook. The star shares these qualities in that it is trying to remind you about the divinity and uniqueness within you, and yet encouraging you to be a conduit for bringing down your highest potential. Now, there's a golden cup on the top here. The gold and the sun is associated with God the Father. She's pouring the limitless potential of the divinity upon herself, and she becomes a conduit for that energy to manifest itself. The blue 7-pointed star, which is coming up from the cup, that talks about the entire universe, because the number 7 is associated with Venus, which is associated with an area of divine emanation talking about victory and making things happen, creation of the universe. The silver cup, which is down here, is about the moon and illusion. As energy becomes manifest in the world, its purity is lost as it is further from its source. Nevertheless, this is the blood of the Holy Grail, and it is poured on the junction between land and water. And this thing up in the top here, it's a Star of Babylon. Babylon was one of the secret names in Hermetic circles for a few hundred years in medieval Western Europe. And look at this globe here. Now, do you think that is the Earth? No. It is in fact the universe of which the Earth is a part of. The star of Venus spirals out to fill the whole globe. Look, in a nutshell, I think what this is saying to you, just to have a look at, there's a lot of very, very esoteric imagery, which would take us probably an hour to go through, so we'll do that on another occasion, shall we? I should do one on the imagery on this star card. But what it does mean for you is that in this period, in this second quarter, you are going to be fulfilled and inspired by life, and it is a reminder to you to follow your dreams and that which gives you the most inspiration. You're being directed to express your spiritual side, joy and inspiration, and be open to love and trust the universe and what it brings. And the encouragement is now being given to you, just as this card before it did. It's being reinforced by this. Encouragement is now being given that you have had testing times in the past, and now is the time to move forward with renewed hope and live an inspired life that you can express yourself in fully. Now, as far as the third quarter is concerned, let's have a look at this. This is interesting also. Here we have, let me just get my glasses on. Well, this 8 of discs shows a tree in the center of a garden against a yellow background and anchored in fertile land. The leaves are wrapped around the flowers, which are the discs, in a very protective way. The astrology of this card here is the sun in the first decan of Virgo. So it's the sun ruling Virgo. And what's interesting also is that this number 8 here, I have associated with it the planet of Mercury, and Mercury is also the ruler of Virgo. So this is a very, and it is exalted in Virgo. So this is a very productive partnership between the astrological energies. It signifies that intelligence, lovingly applied to material matters, you might say it's agriculture or fashion or beauty or housework or gardens or your business world or how you earn a living. How you use your intelligence lovingly to those things, it's going to end up being very productive for you, because the sun enhances everything it touches, and here it energizes Virgo's hard work ethic and attention to detail. So I see here for you the opportunity for growth into something worthwhile. Now, just looking a little bit deeper at this symbology just for the moment, and just this is as much my own interest as much as anything else. Now, the fruit here in the middle, this fruit here has 5 segments. The flowers around it are 5. Now 5 plus 5 are 10. Now 10, mystically for me, is the earth. It is the universe, the material universe itself, after its emergence from out of spirit. So it's representing tangible things coming into your life. And these these leaves are protecting these flowers here. It's talking about you at this time, I think, being protective of your dreams and plans and nurturing them until the universe manifests them. Now, don't overextend yourself and be kind of discriminating in what you give out. I think what it's suggesting is that you need time and patience to develop something during this period. Don't rush it, as it's a long-term thing, and be prepared to bide your time and let it come into fruition. This Eight of Discs is encouragement to keep doing what you are doing when you get into this period, as it is going to lead to success. Yes, look, it might require a lot of dedication and focus and patience, but as time passes, and as you stay true to your values and beliefs, you get a little closer to your goal. It may not be readily apparent to you at that time, but events will be unfolding that are going to lead you to your destination. Continue working on yourself too during that period, and make ongoing improvements and adjustments to ensure that you are the best person you can be. Now, additional training may be needed to advance where you want to go with projects or work, and time is needed for this. And I think what it's saying is that there is a need for you to properly manage your energies between the different aspects of your life. And then in the end of the year, the last few months of the year, things are really going to start taking off for you in a big way. And let's have a look at this. Here we have the Eight of Wands. Now, what are you saying to me, Eight of Wands? Well, in the Eight of Wands, two overlapping pyramids form a shape of 8 points. There are no wands in this card, though. They've turned into like rays of electricity. The rays emanate from the center of the figure and pass through the corners of the pyramid, terminating in arrowheads. This is the only card in the suit, incidentally, of Wands, which does not have flames in it. Now, the astrology of this card is, well, as it's got a glyph here, it is Mercury ruling Sagittarius, but I would say that it is the first decan, that cardinal decan, that 0 to 10 degrees of Sagittarius, which Mercury is ruling. Now, Mercury is in detriment in Sagittarius, and thus in its lowest potency in there. This is because Mercury is the ruling planet of Gemini, where it is at home, and therefore it's 180 degrees away when it gets into Sagittarius. But all is not lost because of the tremendous energy which is around here. Now, Mercury is the planet of communication, and Sagittarius is associated with the swiftness of the arrow. This combination produces in you at this time a restless intellect. Learning is best when you are given the freedom to think for yourself, when you are truly in the topic at hand. Now, looking at the symbology on the card itself, rays replace flames. So the impulse for here, I think, is really of electricity. And so we have the idea of a swift impulses tying in with the characteristics of Sagittarius. They are also associated with rays of light. Now, the geometric figure, this 8-pointed thing, is symbolic of number 8 here is an area of divine emanation which existed prior to the emergence of matter from out of spirit while it was still within the divine mind, and that is associated with Mercury as well. So we have Mercury in the number 8, so a double dose of Mercury. And in this rainbow here, what I see here is the division of pure light into the 7 colors, symbolizing the interplay of forces making up the multitude of forms in the visible universe. Now, I have to say that this is one of my favorite cards here. And in this position here, following on from this Prudence, following the Lord of Prudence, here we have, and underneath the star, here we have things which is actually almost like a flash of spiritual insight, light rays manifesting in something which is going to be tangible in your life. And that's that geometric form, I think. Now, during this end of the year period, a situation is going to arise with which you need to act quickly and seize the opportunity presented. There may be more than one. Now, go with the flow like light rays and don't resist, because by overthinking, you'll put obstacles in the way of moving forward with your life at this time. Now, the need for clear communications at this time to create the things that you want And to create them is like the manifestation of this rainbow, as I say. But with the communication of Mercury here, there is the need to make sure that your communications are well understood. I think there is going to be the rapid completion of projects that you have underway. You will be bursting with energy and ideas, and you won't be able to wait to achieve one task in order to start another one. Make sure that before you move to the next task, though, that your previous task or project is complete. It could also be a relationship. Make sure the old boyfriend or girlfriend has been tied off in case you move on to something else. This is really an action-oriented card that encourages you to move quickly to pursue the best opportunities that are going to become available to you. There's no waiting around when this Eight of Wands is present, so focus your energy to that which is going to be most important to you at the time. Well, that's the way it is for you for this year. Well, there you go, 2021 in a snapshot. It's been great fun doing that reading for you, and I hope that you enjoyed it as much as I did providing it to you. Now, I look forward to seeing you in the monthly readings, okay? But until then, just remember one thing always, and it is this, that you are a legend. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Until then, it's bye for now.